In 2015, all the United Nations member states adopted the 17 Sustainable Development Goals as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people should be enjoying peace and prosperity. But almost 10 years after, or 5 more years left to go, most African countries are still far from achieving even the very basic goals of the 17. According to the United Nations statistics, only 17% of these goals have so far been met, and Africa tends to be lagging behind. The African Institute for Mathematical Sciences think by the use of mathematics as a tool, they can help African governments to push forth with the achievement of these goals. It is within this framework that AIMS Cameroon recently organized a one-day workshop on the theme Universities, STEM and Sustainable Development Goals. Addressing participants during the opening ceremony, the Center President of AIMS Cameroon, Professor Dr. Mama Fupayini, stated that their decision to join in the celebration to mark the Sustainable Development Goals Week was to see how they can promote effort through research to support Africa in the drive to achieve these goals. The workshop was marked by a series of presentations, among them Professor Charles Kimpolo, who started with an explanation on the concept of the workshop via a Zoom link. He talked about the pivotal role that universities across Africa can play in helping their governments achieve these goals. Professor Fidel Ntenkang, an associate professor of pharmaceutical sciences in the University of Boya, based his presentation on a research on the richness of Africa's medicinal plants to be used to promote sustainable health and wellness for Africa and the rest of the world in the future. Other presenters included Dr. Wamba Etienne, Dr. Abebe Jeletu, the Regional Chief of Bureau in the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family, Gillian Tangang Tamambang.
Three examples in our training model at AIMS. We are training students in climate science. And recently during our graduation, if you were here, you heard the representative of the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, saying that we have flood and drought problem in Cameroon and everywhere in Africa, and these are problems our students are trained to solve in climate science. They need to have the theoretical knowledge on how to model such situations and see the parameters who are involved, and with the tools we are giving them, they are able to attack such problems in Africa. And
the workshop equally saw a demonstration by a master's student from the Faculty of Engineering Science in the University of Boya, Abe Tange Serge. Though still a student, Serge already demonstrated that the young Africans can effectively contribute in providing solutions that can help Africa succeed in its stride to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
The project I briefed on is actually an electric wheelchair designed from scratch with little resources or scrap resources. Initially, this project was produced for my final year project back at the undergraduate level, and I used basically resources or train resources, 2 damaged scooters and planks to come up with the project, and it was successful. And now, after I was called to present the project here, I thought I should do some modifications, and that's why I actually used an actual wheelchair to come up with the project again to present today at AIMS.
The workshop equally featured 2 panel discussions that spiced up the day's activity. The second discussion was based on the role women and the disadvantaged groups play in the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. The event ended with the offer of financial assistance to a number of physically challenged persons and some 2 orphanages in Limbe invited by AIMS Cameroon.